You've been very vocal about the need for GPs to rethink what medical careers look like.
Today I'm so excited to be joined by Dr. Patrice Baptiste, who is not only a GP but also an educator, author, speaker, and a YouTube creator. And she's on a mission to show there is more than one way to thrive in medicine. She is best known for her book, Portfolio Careers for GPs, which is a career survival guide for those doctors who feel stuck.
If you were to give 5 practical tips from your recently published book, Portfolio Careers for GPs, what would they be?
So the first thing is understanding if you're ready to plan your career or develop a portfolio career, because it really depends on what stage you're at. I mean, you may have young children, you may have changed jobs. So there's a lot of things that could be going on in your personal and professional life, which means that you need to assess, is this really the best time to be thinking about a portfolio career or changing careers or adjusting your career in any way. The second thing in the framework is understanding who you are, but not just who you are, the world around you. We don't exist in isolation, and a lot of external factors can actually impact portfolio careers. And then the third step is understanding what the research calls key predictors of career success. Spend a lot of time talking about the importance of networking. It's about also having a strong understanding of what networking is, because when I took my year out of training, I went to lots of events and it was all new to me. I hadn't really networked. When I went to events, I was just thinking, gosh, how can these people help me? But it's not really about that. It's, yes, of course, you want people to help you, but it's about how you can also help other people and building longevity in the professional relationships that you should hopefully develop. And then the fourth step is categorizing your portfolio, which again is important for clarity for yourself and to know where you're going, but also when you speak to people and you talk about whether it's your USP or unique selling point or kind of what makes you stand out. And it just really helps people understand exactly what your portfolio encompasses, because it can seem a bit all over the place if you're trying to tell someone about all the different things that you do. And then 5 is initiation and intentionality. So you really have to get going. And sometimes the hardest thing is to start, but if you don't start, how will you ever get any feedback? How will you ever make any progress? And then the final step I think will be helpful is evaluation and reflection, making sure that you reflect regularly and analyze exactly where you are, what has worked, what hasn't worked. And I give some really good tips and strategies in the book to make sure that you can kind of do this effectively.
It does sound like this book would be super useful for doctors in general, not just the GPs. In this book, you talk about balancing multiple roles. For you personally, how do you manage the time and the energy across your multiple roles, such as clinical work, educational work, entrepreneurship, and your various creative projects?
It can be a struggle sometimes. I will be honest, it's not easy to manage lots of different careers or lots of different interests, especially if you have a family, and I have a young family. So I make sure that I prioritize. So clinical medicine is still a big part of my career, and I want it to be that way. And in the book, I talk about having an anchor career and then having satellite careers. There's different ways you can construct a portfolio career. And I think probably the best way to describe mine is having general practice at its core. Everything else I do is integrated or connected to general practice. So I have general practice and then education. So those are the kind of the big things. And education is again a big or broad umbrella term, because I educate in lots of different ways, whether that's lecturing or whether that's writing or whether that's on YouTube with educating colleagues or educating patients. So I think I have really like 2 big parts of my portfolio career, and then I focus mainly on those. Anything else is really a bonus. So YouTube is great, but it's not the main focus of my portfolio career. It definitely adds quite a lot, and it's definitely helped me reach people and audiences. But for instance, my main working week is divided between clinical medicine, education, and research. Once upon a time, I was really invested in YouTube, for example. I'll stick with YouTube as the example. I was really invested. I was doing videos every Friday, but life changes, and that's what I talk about as well in the book. It's important to think about external factors, think about the impact that has. And also you want to think about kind of where you're going in the long term. If you enjoy the things that you're doing, you will make time for it. even if we talk a lot on the internet about, being consistent, and it really is being consistent when you don't feel like doing something. There have been times I've done, like, we'll stick with YouTube. I've been able to just stick with it. I've not wanted to go and do a YouTube video, but I went ahead and did it. And at the end of it, I felt really great for doing it. Sometimes, like exercise, sometimes you don't want to get up and do push-ups or whatever it might be, but you do it, and then you're still making progress and you see the end results. And I think that is, like, as medics, there's a lot of things that we had to do and sacrifice to get to that end point. So yeah, I think what helps me manage a lot of things, because I'm interested in what I'm doing, I'm passionate about it, and I want to keep making progress, and I want to keep reaching my goals.
So there have been recently reports about some GPs taking on even Uber driving as a separate career. I don't know if this counts as portfolio career, but it does seem that there are some concerns that locum work and salaried work, even salaried work, has dried up across the country. What would you say to those doctors who may be feeling a bit hopeless and are looking for new job and career opportunities?
Well, I think the first thing I would say is to stay positive. It's very easy to get sucked into, oh gosh, this is a terrible situation and I'm never going to get out of it and it's just horrible. We are very valuable, and if someone's in that situation, they should try to remember that, and also focus on their strengths, and maybe some of the things they're not so good at, and work on those. Work on a lot of, like, self-development. And I think look for opportunities. I speak a lot about networking in the book, and in general, because I feel like it's so important. Sometimes jobs, or a lot of the time, they come from someone It's not always about applying for a job. And I think sometimes it's about thinking outside of the box. Who can I speak to? Who can I show my skill set to? Think about creating your own opportunities. I mean, being increasingly more common that doctors are starting their own businesses. But I think it's important, like I said, to stay positive and to keep on looking and to keep on speaking to people. And you never know what could come about. And if you have to supplement your income, or you have to change your career just to make ends meet, that think about that maybe as being temporary, and just keep what they call, on the grind. Just keep going, keep it moving. You have to keep moving through difficult situations.
Do you think every GP should think about a portfolio career, or are there certain mindsets and qualities or traits maybe that make it more appropriate or relevant to some but not others?
Okay, so there's quite a lot in that question. I'm going to try and remember and unpack. I think everyone should consider a portfolio career, or if not a portfolio career, I think they should consider not putting all their eggs in one basket. I think it's important to remember that nothing is secure, nothing is guaranteed. And it's strange because you go into a profession like medicine and you think, oh yeah, I'm secure, rest of my life, I've got this, perfect. But actually that is not the case. And it's not just medicine. So I think it's important for everyone to consider having other income streams or other avenues, just so that you keep one foot in the door and keep the options open to you. I think you do have to be someone who's quite strong-minded, someone who's quite resilient, someone who doesn't necessarily listen to outside noise or too many opinions, because everyone has an opinion. I think you have to be quite open to taking risks and putting yourself out there. I think you can slowly start developing yourself to becoming someone who maybe is more naturally geared up to pursuing something like entrepreneurialism or portfolio career.
The second video will be about your journey as a YouTube creator. I know you said it's not a big part of your portfolio career right now, but at one point in the past it really was. So it would be really interesting to learn more about your YouTube journey. And let's talk about this now.